to everyone here in person today and to everyone who is visiting our service from home. The UU Fellowship of Lake Norman, also known as Unitarians of Lake Norman, is an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, and we are united by our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all, and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Regina Burchett, and I have been an active member of this congregation since 2017. I'd also like to add that you are welcome to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Just click on the link in the gold-colored box on the homepage of our website, uulakenorman.org. Our musician today is Teresa Woody, and we are grateful to her for sharing her talents. Our speaker today is Reverend Pat Jobe. He joined our fellowship in 2020. He is married to his lovely spouse, Gabe, and is an enthusiastic supporter of Unitarians of Lake Norman, FeedNC, Heart of the Carolinas UU Animal Ministry, and all work done by UUs in our area. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words, which are in your order of service. We light this flaming chalice to illuminate the world we see. In our search for truth, may we find our search for justice, may we be loving, and in loving, may we find peace. And I'm not giving up to this light. All right. Perseverance furthers, right? Okay. Okay. Reverend Pat will now give our opening words.
Our opening words come from Hermann Hesse. He wrote, "In eternity there is no time, only an instant for a joke." Don't let me down, y'all. Don't let me down. Unfortunately, today there is not much to joke about. But as you will hear later, I intend to go on and go for laughs anyway. The sermon was written before the horrors unfolded in Israel and along the Gaza Strip. As we seek to breathe together, and we put stones in the bowl for all those horribly killed, injured, taken hostage, and made homeless yesterday and the day before, and across so many years by the horrors of war. As Holly Near wrote so well, we are a gentle, angry people, and we are fighting for our lives. I don't think Ms. Near would mind if we added the notion that we are also fighting for the lives of all people everywhere. Take a deep breath as we hold all the people in the world in our hearts.
We'll now hear from our, excuse me, I got a cough today, from our Religious Education Director, Autumn Weathers.
Oh gosh, to follow Pat. Yeah, not joking. We have this upcoming weekend, the Mooresville Pride Parade, and I am so happy that this small group of people got together and they're actually making this happen. Mooresville it's in a very conservative community, and we do not have the support of the city or the business owners downtown Mooresville. There are people that are very upset that there will be a pride parade or any recognition of LGBT people at all in Mooresville. On a sad note, this past week in the community, there is a young person that lost their lives by their own hand in that community. And this is more than 10 so far, just in the last couple of years. But it's very recent. These young people, they need us. They need us to show up and to give the love and support that they might not have from their family, that they don't have at school, that they don't have in their community. And I know for a fact that this parade that's going to be happening this upcoming weekend in Mooresville has already gotten some attention from people that do not want it to happen and have organized to try to stop people from coming out to support it. So I was asked to inform everybody that's attending that that we need to show up with as much love in our heart as we can to give to the kids that need us and the LGBTQ people in the community that might not want to be out and open. Because there will be folks that are out there that are going to be yelling things not in support of their lives. So the Friday before the Pride Parade, there is going to be about 12 churches so far that I've heard about that is assembling to pray over the streets of Mooresville to protect the children of Mooresville from the gays. So yeah, I'm hoping that everybody in this room will come on Saturday. I live downtown Mooresville and I'm part of this community that we're building. And so we will be assembling not necessarily a float, we're going to be decorating a truck on Saturday morning. So starting around 8:30, I'm going to put some coffee on and we'll have some breakfast casseroles and some fruit. So anybody that wants to come early and help us decorate and just, bring in the love for Mooresville, because we will have some of the event organizers joining us also. And we will then just move a couple blocks down the road to the starting point. And it's a very, very short parade route. It's only 3 blocks long. So it'll probably be quick. But if you cannot make it to March and it is walking, please come out and support the parade by observing. So that's all that I have for everybody. It starts at 11, but they're asking that people that are going to march in the parade that we get there by no later than 10:30. So yep. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. My email address is re@uulakenorman.org. So, and I'll put more information in the newsletter also. That's it for now. Teresa, would you play the piano for our hymn? It's usually what we do for the kids service, but I feel like it's a beautiful prayer. It's hymn number 123 in the great hymnals.
Teresa will now play centering music before we have our speaker. Reverend Pat will now speak with us about humor being the best way out.
Thank you, Regina. Thank you, Teresa. Teresa had asked me what I was going to talk about, and I said it's going to be a lot of silliness. So if you could just imagine the music she just played as maybe background music for a Warner Brothers cartoon, you have a sense of what she was reaching for. Am I right about that? Thank you. Thank you so much. This is going to be different. This is going to be different. And I've asked some folks to be prepared to tell stories when I finish this morning. But all of you are invited to tell stories. And all of you are invited to think about what you would like your last words to be. And I collected some. How many of you saw the 1939 movie Miracle on 34th Street? Okay, the guy who played Santa Claus, Edwin Gwynn, said, "Dying is easy, comedy is hard." Oscar Wilde's last words were, "I'm in a life and death struggle with the wallpaper. Either it goes or I go." W.C. Fields is said to have been reading the Bible as he passed. And somebody asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm looking for loopholes." Andrew Bradford, who was a book publisher, said, "God forgive the misprints." Lady Nancy Astor is said to have awakened just before dying, looked around at her family around her bed and said, "Am I dying or is it my birthday?" And some death row inmate just before his execution said, "Tell the governor he's lost my vote." And maybe in the not so funny vein, Harriet Tubman is said to have simply said, "Swing low, sweet chariot." A running joke in our family is that my brother's last words will be, "I told you I was sick." I have no memory of my mother's last words, and today would have been her 105th birthday. She passed in 2012, but had she made it, today would have been her 105th. And so I'm talking about this stuff in memory of her, and to bring us all to mind to the fact that we're all going. Sooner or later, we're all going. One time on the porch of her nursing home, she reached into the sky and she said, "I want to go where my mother is." And I said, "Well, Mama, you are going there. You are going there." But I said, "I can't put you in the car and take you there." And she said, "But it's just right." Oh, never mind. We're so glad Annie Illing is with us today. Annie, you were so nice to introduce yourself. Thank you. And you're in graduate school, is that right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Pay no attention to the fact that you're the youngest person in the room, okay? It's not important.
Invite all your friends, though.
That's right, yes. Invite your friends and tell them some lie about how wonderful we are. The difference between Mama and Daddy was that she loved to tell funny stories, and he mostly told jokes. Miss Flack, who was a loyal daughter of the Democratic Party, ran the cafeteria at RS Central High School. And Mama was the advisor to the Future Homemakers of America. So Miss Flack would cook the meals, and the Future Homemakers would serve the meals at the cafeteria. And both Miss Flack and Mama were Democrats. And one night they had to serve the Republicans. And after the meal had been served and the two of them were sort of relaxing back in the kitchen, Miss Flack said, "Miss Jobe, those people even use the American flag. What are they thinking?" Okay, I thought it was a funny story. I really did. You never know. You never know what's going to work, what's not going to work. I think maybe the funniest thing she ever said to me had to do with members of Daddy's family moving away. My parents bought the house on Carolina Avenue in 1957. At the time, one of Daddy's cousins lived directly behind us, and his uncle and aunt lived across the street from them, and another cousin lived just down the road. Maybe 20 years went by, and I mentioned to Mama, they've all either died or moved away. And Mama said, I never dreamed we'd run them off. Another time, PJ, my number 2 son, had just gotten potty trained, and his older brother, the two of them needed to go pretty badly. So we flew by Mama standing in the kitchen, and as I was rushing them, urging them, come on, guys, come on, let's get to the potty, let's get to the potty. As both boys were in position, I heard Mama ask from the kitchen, can you imagine having Pat Jobe for a father? She was funny and fun and clever and kind and generous and faithful to ideas she had been taught as a child. I was crazy about her. Brother Bill told of how she and her older siblings lived in a boarding house that their mother ran. Each room had mother-of-pearl buttons that could be pushed, and someone in the kitchen would come to take an order. She and her 2-year-older sister would push one of the buttons and then run to the kitchen to imagine someone taking their order. It was childish silliness, and it fed their souls. So this is my reason for coming here today. And those of you who know me well know that it's often my reason for coming, to bring the spiritual power of humor. The Hebrew text says laughter is good medicine. Is it too much to imagine that it feeds our souls? It is said that we shrink before the mystery of death. Well, not everybody. On the Mexican Day of the Dead, masks and paper skeletons appear among dances and ceremonial fires, and a glass or two is lifted in memory of those gone before, and in playful acknowledgement that the rest of us are not far behind. My dad used to say, nobody gets out of here alive. Or maybe he could have said, nobody gets out of here in the same body they showed up in. Langston Hughes wrote, life ain't been no crystal staircase. And maybe the same can be said of death. Until we figure all this out, maybe we could just raise a glass and dance. So, I know Jim Price has got a story. I'll call on him first. Come tell us about your mama.
Thank you, Pat. My mom wasn't a particularly funny person. She was very serious, actually, and so I struggled a little bit, but I get on with it. My mom was not a sports person at all, but we lived in a very small town, and for some reason, she was going to go to a ball game. So she told this young fellow, I'll pull for you at the ball game. And so I assume she did. She saw that same fellow a week or so later, and he said to her, Miss Clara, her name was Clara. He said, Miss Clara, I saw you pulling for that other team when they did something good. And she said, oh, I know and like people on both teams. I pulled for both teams.
There you go. There you go.
She, later in life, she changed a little. And when I would call her sometimes, she'd just go on about a fellow, talk about his wife and his family, kids, and so forth. And I'd say, Mom, I don't remember that name. Did he grow up in Norwood? That was our town. Was he older or younger than me? She said, oh, he plays for the Braves. So she became a Braves fan late in her life after my father passed. And so one day I called her and she said, the Braves won last night, went into extra innings, and I stayed and saw it all. The game wasn't over till 2:30 in the morning. And I said, Mama, you think you ought to be staying up that late at night? I worry about you a little bit. She said, honey, my husband has died. I live alone. I support myself. I can do anything I want to do. And I said, yes, Mom.
Jim, do you have any thoughts about last words? What your last words might be?
Oh, my goodness.
Those are good. Those are good. Oh, my goodness.
There are no kids in the room. I think about the movie, what were his last words? I shouldn't say that.
Okay, the floor is open. Who's next?
Oh, no, we'll never get out of here.
My mother, she lives 92, but before her passing, we were in the hospital, and she told me, she says, Doug, she says, give that guy some money beside me. He's been giving me therapy. And I said, Mama, there's nobody beside you. She said, what about that lady in the purple dress at the end of my bed? I said, Mama, there's no one in the purple dress. She said, oh, I got problems then. And one more thing, we had a nice garden, and there was a goat that kept getting out and getting to the garden. So one day my mother got the shotgun. The goat was in the backyard, and she shot. She killed a goat. She said, I was just firing over his head. I said, Mama, you killed the goat. You killed that poor goat. And my father didn't, God rest his soul, didn't tell anybody. He just went and hid the goat.
Oh, my goodness. You got any thoughts on last words, Doug?
Oh, Lord.
There you go. Regina?
Our family got through a lot of stuff with humor, and I have always appreciated it. And I'm so glad I married somebody who has the same outlook. But we almost got kicked out of my grandmother's funeral for laughing, because in Missouri, they like to have the open, you see everything. And when everybody going by said, oh, don't she look natural? We couldn't stay quiet because that's such a standard comment.
Do you have any thoughts on last words?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good. Groucho Marx also, his last words were, this is no way to live. Groucho Marx, who also said, I've had a lovely evening, but this wasn't it. Anybody else? Stories about your mama. Here we go, Arvin.
My mother was very beautiful, and whatever I look like is because of her. But all my life, I admire her. But one day we had all my brothers and everybody in the family together. And I said to her, look at all these people around you, and I have to blame you for my height, you know that. Because my younger brothers were much taller than me. And my father was 6'5". So.
Wow. So you have any thoughts on last words?
Oh, I'm not ready yet.
I think those may be the last words of a lot of us. Yeah, keep the door open. I'm not ready yet. Anybody else? A story about your mama or an idea about last words? This ought to be good.
My mama was funny. Got no mama stories, but speaking of W.C. Fields, he used to hate Philadelphia, where he used to perform. I guess he grew up and stuff. And on his tombstone, it says, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. And my last words would be, that's all, folks.
There you go. There you go. Hope you can pull that off, Eddie. Anybody else? Yeah, it's Andy.
With the sole two exceptions of Regina and Pat Jobe, all the funniest things today were offered by gentlemen with white beards.
What could that possibly mean? Oh, we're doing so good on time, y'all. Anybody else got a story or a thought or anything? I do, in response to your story about your mom having that lady in the purple dress and the guy over here who's been giving her therapy. I probably told this story before. Harvey's not here to check me. Harvey keeps up with all the stories that I tell a second and third time. Oh, and I do want to say hello to Rick and Linda. Is that right, Regina? No, Claudia. Rick and Linda. Hey, Rick and Linda. Hey, Rick and Linda. They watch every Sunday, and I think Jamie Bosian does. Jamie, if you're watching, hello. And also Martha Tiller sometimes watches. Please forgive me if I've told the story before, but I did Wilma Swafford's eulogy. She said, I want you to write my eulogy, and I want you to come up here and read it to me. And it was a good long drive. And she was a school teacher, so she wanted editorial control. And she said it was all right. It's all right. She said, that'll do. But there was a guy rubbing her feet, doing reflexology treatments on her feet right there in the room with us. And he said, oh, Wilma doesn't have to die. Wilma doesn't have to die. And I said, well, Wilma, what do you think's going to happen? She said, I don't know. I said, well, let me ask you this. Have you had any visitors from the other side? And she said, oh, yeah, my dead brother's been standing in the corner for 2 weeks. And I said, well, Wilma, what do you think that means? She said, it means I'm going to die. And she did. Anybody else? Last words? Mama stories? My last words are actually on a magnet on the back of either my car or Gabriel's car. Y'all be sweet to each other. And I've had a number of requests for that magnet, and I have produced more and given them away. Y'all be sweet to each other. Floor's open. Anybody want to take a shot? Alan, you've got a white beard. Okay, well, y'all are wonderful. I love you. I love everybody on this train.
Thank you, Pat. We'll now have a musical reflection from Teresa. This fellowship is important to us all. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to our community, both nearby and in the larger world. Your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community. Thank you. With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. Thank you also to our members who volunteer so much of their time on our UU board, and also those who participate in numerous other efforts to help out all humans, animals, and the earth. We are grateful for all you do. Please look in your order of service at the announcements on the back, on the second page. The social suppers, typically after our service, some of us meet at a local restaurant. Please check with Linda Heidenberg or Marge Flowers about today's plan. Don't forget the Pride Parade in Mooresville on Saturday, October 14th. And also on October 14th is the Heart of Carolina's UU Animal Ministry. They're building a fence for 7 dogs that currently don't have freedom. So if you can help with either of those events, that would be wonderful. Our closing song today is number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. Reverend Pat will now give our closing words.
Well, you've heard about the Pride Parade twice already, so I want to appeal again. I've asked a number of folks if they plan to be there, and right now our crew is a little slim. So if you'll see me after the service, if you're pretty sure you can be there Saturday, Autumn is graciously offering coffee and a little breakfast before the parade. So we really need at least what, Jim? It'll be in the newsletter. Autumn's address will be in the newsletter. But also, if you want me to send you an email about details, I'll do that too. But I need to know who's going to be there. I know Jim's bringing his truck, and we'll have the billboard on the back that you built and designed, which is wonderful. And I'm going to print up 300 cards to hand out. And We'll deal with it. It'll be great. But please let me know if you can be. Claudia, how long would it take you to get another bag of candy? Okay.
Well, I think the coordination of the state room and the candy and the cards is probably too much.
Okay. All right. So we'll just hand out cards without candy. Okay.
I was trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you did well. You did well. Mama was funny, but Mama was also serious. And one of the things that she was serious about was the way people behave and the way people treat each other. And our closing words are her standard for greatness was a genuine interest in other people.
And I forgot something. Please say with me the words in your order of service as I extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.